hilarious.
You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants. Look, I'm wearing a belt.
There's a dance that the athletes and fans and media are constantly trying to figure out, and it always makes for interesting, discussion when the altercations happen, as it happened in all 5 of these situations, because it's kind of the question, and it's like, what's okay? What's okay to say to an athlete? What's okay to heckle an athlete with? And what's not okay? Because on the one hand, they are public figures, and whether you're a media member or a fan, these are people that have sought out the spotlight. They've achieved, a prominent role in society. They have, by definition, a higher burden of proof for defamation because they are public figures. And I think another reason we don't give them a lot of sympathy is that they're all rich as shit. I mean, you're rich, you have a spotlight, you get a lot of different privileges, a lot of other people don't, and you are actually volunteering to be in that situation. Therefore, media and fans, I think, do have a right to say certain things even if you don't like them. However, on their side, they're also human beings, and a lot of people just assume that, hey, I don't know you, but I see you on TV, therefore you're just there for my entertainment, and I can say and do whatever the hell I want as a media member or a fan. I draw the line personally if you say something racist or prejudiced or bigoted, or if you say something about a family member or a dead family member. That's kind of where I draw that line. For me, I think most of it, the rest of it, is kind of open season. So that's what this whole subject's about, putting on big boy pants.
I got big boy pants on.
And there's 5 different exceptions here, so I'm going to bring up the first one. This one was the big one this week. I actually was with him on this. Jason Kelce. He actually apologized for this today. It actually came out, the video, when he smashed the homeboy's cell phone. A lot of people were on Jason's side on this. But he did say, I did choose to, greet hate with hate, and that it wasn't productive, as he grabbed the phone from some unruly fan before the Ohio State-Penn State game last Saturday. And what really set him off was that he called his brother a very bad slur that rhymes, with maggot. I'll just put it that way. But we can pop on the video. We can let people see it. Jason Kelce, once he was told that his brother was, a maggot, responded how he responded.
Let's go! I love you, I love you! Jason! Hey, keep on going! Yeah? Keep on going! Whoa, whoa! Give me my phone, give me my phone. Who's your friend? You want to Taylor Swift? Get the fuck out of here! Give me my phone! You want to Taylor Swift? Give me my phone! You pussy-ass bitch! Travis Kelce, you get that on camera. You can get that on fucking camera. Travis Kelce broke my phone. How about that? Send that to the news. Send that to the news. Broke my fucking phone.
Yeah, that's what happens. Call someone's brother a maggot in the middle of the street, sometimes they might smash your phone for you, douchebag.
What a douche.
So this is a good example of where I think Jason was actually in the right, and I think most of the public agreed with him on this. You're not supposed to smash people's phones, so Jason did come out later and say, look, I probably shouldn't have done that. Again, I chose to greet hate with hate. I try to be better than that, and also he said, I quote, try to treat people with common decency and respect, and I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. He is an analyst now with ESPN. He's not just a former retired Philadelphia Eagle. He does need to keep it in check a little bit, but I mean, I think a lot of us just kind of chuckled. I was like, man, got a little lonely island there.
I threw it on the ground.
Oh, yeah? What's my brother again? Say that one more time, bitch. So this one, I think a lot of us sided with Jason Kelce. This next one, I was not nearly as much in his camp until he apologized. Plus, he made a reference that I think is pretty funny here. Trevon Diggs, in case y'all missed it, also has recently apologized. So I put him more at the bottom of this category. People need to put on their big boy pants because he was basically scolded online via X by a guy from WFAA, a reporter, who thought he gave less than 100% effort on a tackle, and he got all out of his feelings.
You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants.
And we could pop the video on. Trevon really went after the reporter.
You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing with me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trevon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
That whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that? That whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing now?
I gotta say, if nothing else, I always love a D's Nuts reference when he said, oh, let's talk about it, Trevon. Talk about these nuts.
These nuts. Got him.
That's the old 4-year-old in me. anytime you get a D's Nuts reference, you're probably going to go, I'm going to give you a little bit more sympathy. But he did say, I was caught up. It was just the wrong time, and I do feel bad. He did really, scream at the guy, who, again, is a media member. You're a star Cowboys player, and you really didn't. If you watch that play, that 49ers play, he really gave less than 100% on that effort. And he did say, look, I'm a cover corner. I'm like a Deion Sanders. I'm not Cam Chancellor, and tackling isn't my strong suit. It's not my superpower, but I can tackle. But I, all in all, I thought, other than the D's Nuts reference, which again I appreciate.
These nuts.
He apologized. He said, my bad. So again, I think I'm going to side with the athlete on this one more than the media member, even though I thought the media member did have an opportunity and a right to question his effort, although he's never played the sport before. That's a whole nother thing that can get on my nerves, too. I get annoyed with everyone trying to keep people pigeonholed in the if you haven't done it, therefore. And those are usually the same people who will say something about, a president or a police officer or somebody else like, have you ever been president? Have you ever been police officer? Why do you? You know what I mean? There's a lot of hypocrisy of people that make that statement. I don't know Diggs enough to make that call, but I do think, I'll kind of juggle that one. I'll call it 50-50. I think they both had some right to do what they did, and maybe too much of it's just because of his dumb joke. This one, though, I'm a little bit more, this is not cool to me because you're a head coach. Penn State, James Franklin, head coach of the Nittany Lions, just had a little heated exchange with a fan recently. In case y'all missed this, very Nick Sirianni, think about that in Philadelphia Eagles. And again, you're a college coach. You're supposed to set the example. Besides the fact you're getting paid way too much money to lose, and he's getting paid way too much. James Franklin is currently going to get, $75 million over his next 10 years, and his buyout's at $56 million, even though after another loss to Ohio State, he is now 3-19 overall and 1-7 at home against top 10 teams as the head coach of this university. And so after another embarrassing loss, some fans started being a fan and saying, hey, I don't think you're doing a very good job. He probably said a little bit ruder than that. But then the coach, if you can pop this for me here, James Franklin, decides to start a shouting match with a child.
What's your name? No, you're going to be man enough to talk. What's your name?
Don't clap for that horse shit. He's a coach. No, I'm sorry. You're a douchebag.
You are a douchebag.
That's
right. A douchebag.
You don't, as a head coach, trying to set the example for other people and players around you, get to yell at some fan because you're not performing as you're making, again, $75 million, and you're not just not getting it done. You are so piss poor. 3-19 against the top 10 teams, and you are 1-7 at home. They just hired a new offensive coordinator. That was one of James Franklin's big excuses for Penn State, saying like, oh, we need a new offense. They were not able to get an offensive touchdown in this big game, and now, Penn State, who's trying to fight for a national championship, even with the expanded playoffs, is one more bad loss away from not even making the damn thing, and yet he feels he has the right to be a dickwad and go start a fight with a 19-year-old who has every right as a paying customer to go, dude, we expect better than this. You get paid to do better than this. You need to do better than this. He feels like he has a right to start an argument with a child.
Douchebag says what?
No. I'm totally on the other side. This is the fan had every right. He didn't say anything racist. He didn't say anything about your family. He just said you suck at your job and you got all butthurt about it. And I don't think that's fair at all. So that one, I'm going to side with the fan and actually to the head coach. Again, you're a head coach. I can say stupid stuff. I'm a podcaster. You're supposed to set example for, basically 18-year-old, 19-year-old damn kids. And starting fans, argument with fans when you suck is not the way to do it. That's just, moving on. This next one, and this dude is constantly just a thorn in everyone's side. And this is really a good example of even worse than James Franklin, of dude, fans are allowed to boo or say you suck. They're allowed to boo or say you suck if, again, you're taking a lot of money and you're getting piss poor results. This is the bitch of being a public figure, and you can't just be happy when people say nice things to you and then get mad when fans say not so nice things. Ben Simmons, And to me, from day one, the former number 1 pick, the 2016 draft, considered one of the greatest players come out of college, who has continually been a disappointment, has missed more games than he's played, and always loves to hide under the mental health blanket, which gets on my nerves.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
I don't accept it with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not, he is hiding underneath the blanket because he knows it's hard to criticize people once they throw that umbrella on. He is just a whiny little bitch sometimes, and he loves to take guaranteed money, as he once again is taking $40 million a year this year, and not play that well or sit out because he says his back hurts, or flat out one time said, I need to take an entire year off because I don't like people booing me and it makes me sad, basically.
Sounds like you have mental problems.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing. That's basically what he said when he missed that 2021 season. I mean, everyone was like, dude, you're healthy. He's like, yeah, but they're booing me, and I don't like when people boo me because it makes me feel bad. Oh, do you want to return your guaranteed money? Oh, no, I didn't go that far. I just said I want to sit on my ass and take a check. So a fan recently, and this is, again, Ben Simmons, as I, gave just a big old thing about, he has missed 63 of the last 170 games and has averaged only 6.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 6 assists, 666. That should give you a sign of kind of where, his career is gone. Only 5 field goal attempts per game, but he's still making $40 million. Dude's getting paid. It's one of the biggest contracts in the NBA. So after another piss-poor game last week versus, I believe, the Pistons, he was doing the run out through the tunnel, and a fan said, basically, you suck or you're trash or something like that. Mateo popped the video up. Ben Simmons, this is your whole career to me encapsulated in one moment.
Why did you say it when I was there?
Who talking shit?
Poor dad had to step in. Here comes Dennis Schrader. It's the whole thing. All he said was you're trash. You have been trash. Here, of course, comes the other morons with the phones. And Simmons.
Get out.
What did he ruin? What did he say? I mean, again, you are getting paid $40 million to once again have piss-poor performance, and has played only 59 games in the last 4 seasons, and a lot of time there's been a lot of question whether he's actually unhealthy or if he just wants to sit around and collect a check. So fans are allowed to say you suck, and you can't get all, what do you say to me, pussy, and do all that nonsense. You aren't playing good. You're overpaid. This is the real world as a public figure. You don't get to sit there and cry or start fights, especially, again, with children who paid a ticket and have every right to say, dude, I think you suck. That is fair. Anybody can comment underneath my podcast tonight, and I hope you don't do it, but if you do, I have to take it and say, dude, your podcast sucks, you suck, I hate you. That's your opinion. I'm putting myself out there for you to see. I can't have, this reaction like, oh, I only want nice things. Even filtering. I don't like, I have TikTok and all the ones, I get a lot of comments, and they'll ask me if I want to filter it. Hell no. Say what you want. It's your opinion. This idea that I am somehow immune, or anyone, especially someone as famous as Ben Simmons, is immune to this is complete bullshit. So, last one, his former teammate. I do not have the video of this, but this to me was probably the most interesting of them all, because this was probably both sides. I think the media member was wrong, and I think the athlete is wrong in getting upset about some of the stuff he said, because it's true. Joel Embiid, and you can go ahead and put the picture up here for me. I don't have the video, and that's the quote, and I'll get to it in a second. He was very upset. Joel Embiid was saying, you had no right to bring up my dead brother and my son and bring up my family, which is one of my rules. I did say, especially media members, but fans too, I think the line needs to be drawn. If you insult dead family members, or if you insult, them racially or whatever. This time he decided to go with the dead family member, although I think he kind of used that as a way to get more fired up than he probably should have. But in case you missed it, last Saturday, as Joel Embiid continues to not play, and one of the biggest problems with that is that a lot of people are saying it's not actually the left knee. They're saying it's because he's out of shape. They're saying he came into camp once again too fat.
Telling me to lose weight. Oh, I'm a hot Casey said.
That Joel Embiid came into camp too fat, and now that they need to monitor him because they want him to be healthy for the playoffs, that he's had to miss continual games, and now the Sixers are 1-5 off to a bad start, and Joel hasn't played yet. Now, they're trying to say, oh, there's knee injuries, there's real things here, but Joel even said publicly, I'm still going to take all the money that I've been offered and given and guaranteed, but he actually said out loud, I will no longer play back-to-back games anymore in the NBA, which is a no-no because that is actually a violation of the new terms of the CBA and the agreement. Matter of fact, they were fined $100,000 because that and some other things, there was a big investigation to go, we don't really think Joel's hurt. And we're wondering why you're sitting him, and there's a big rumor that Joel's just fat.
Telling me to lose weight.
That's a different thing. So this reporter, Mr. Marcus Hayes, decided to write a column for the Philadelphia Inquirer and had a lot to say about him. And he had a lot of things that weren't that positive and said, you know what, I think it's a shame you're out of shape. I think it's embarrassing, and it's also not a good way to represent yourself. It's especially not fair to the paying ticket holders, especially the season ticket holders who have already missed like 20% of the home games you haven't played in because you couldn't stay on a freaking diet in the offseason, even though you've gotten paid like $150 million. If anybody should have access to trainers and weight loss and being able to take care of yourself, you have a certain level of responsibility as the star of this franchise to at least come into camp in shape so season ticket holders can watch you play and not have to watch you sit out the beginning of the season because you're too damn fat. And I thought that was all a fair argument. There was a big fight, though. We never got to see video of it. Some people say it was pushed. Some people say Joel punched him. We don't know. And it was over this quote that has since been deleted in the article, so I'll read it for you here now. He said in the lambasting of Joel that he consistently points to the birth of his son Arthur as a major inflection point of his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great and leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. And this is where Embiid, again, this is the quote he took, and he ran into the locker room, and he started the big fight with Hayes. Don't know if he pushed, don't know if he punched. There's an investigation. Probably never find out. But, I mean, you know, Hayes said, I apologize for the comment a little bit, but Joel said, basically, I asked the exact quote here, next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you are going to see what I'm going to do, what I'm going to have to do, and you're going to have to live with the consequences, and this is not the effing first time, and yada, yada, yada. So, reviewing all of that, where do I stand with this one? Yeah, dude, okay. I get it's not cool to bring up the brother, and I think that is something that is probably, you know, off limits, but also unnecessary. I won't go as far as off limits. Let me retract that. I don't think it's fair if it's public knowledge and Joel has said out loud that, you know, I named the son after my little brother, and all he said is that he tragically died in an automobile accident. He didn't seem to have an opinion in that sentence one way or the other. But was it necessary? Probably not, because there's plenty of other reasons to go at Joel Embiid right now, especially the fact that there's a big rumor that you're just too fat coming into an offseason, which is inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. So I get being pissed as a media member or a reporter or a season ticket holder or a fan or anybody else to go, dude, you get paid so much goddamn money. As Joel tries to say, like, oh, I've given my life for this city, I've given this. You haven't given up, you know, mashed potatoes. You know, of all the things you've given, you haven't given into a diet. With that type of money, there's no excuse for you not to be able to come into camp in shape. I have seen this excuse used for Luka. I have seen it used for Jokic. I've seen it used for Zion. And all this, oh, people have natural body weights and all. It's all bullshit. Don't even try to give me BMI if you're a doctor.
Don't argue with me about it. I don't care if you are a doctor.
I have seen damn near every one of them, including those guys, get themselves slimmer and in more shape and stay away from injuries. Joel Embiid's biggest problem is every time we get to the final part of the playoffs here, he is always out of shape and he always gets hurt because after 82 games of having that extra weight, I don't care what anybody says. It is common sense to know that if you have added weight, that's added stress on your bones, it's added stress on your ligaments, and something is rigorous at the NBA, you're going to have problems. Joel, this has been a continued problem for you being hurt year after year after year, and you come in bragging that you had to lose 25 to 30 pounds in the offseason and you still have a way to go. In the NBA, 25 to 30 pounds means in NBA world, you are fat.
Telling me to lose weight. Oh,
yeah.
I'm I'm a hot case, he said.
That means you are, to the rest of the world, you're in great shape. To an NBA player, when you have to lose 30 pounds, you are a chunky little guy there, or a big guy, whatever you want to call it. So as much as I don't want to give, Joel too much heat for bringing up the brother, I think the author had a good point in Hayes. I don't think, obviously, you should have shoved him over it, but bringing up the brother and the son and everything else is probably out of bounds. So finally, to wrap it up here, who needed to put on their big boy pants segment? If you can hit this next picture here from me, Mateo. I put him top 5. This is who I think was the biggest asshole, 5-1.
I got big boy pants on.
I think Jason had the most excuse, calling your brother a maggot and then just smashing his phone when the guy was in his face. It wasn't like an audience situation, fan to that or whatever else. That was out of context. That was out of pocket. And also Jason apologized. I put Trevon at 4 because, again, I love a D's Nuts reference and I'll never let that go.
These nuts.
That's always a good way to make me laugh. And also, he apologized for it, even though he said I was out of line. I'll put Trevon at 4. I put Joel at 3, even though that's a dead brother reference, and that's not cool, and bringing up your son is not cool. I think the author, Mr. Hayes, had a good overall point. He probably overstepped his boundary. But in the end, dude, you are out of shape. You are having problems. You can't continue to live up to your contract, and you try to play a victim. That's bullshit. He had a right to call you out. He just didn't have a right to bring up your brother. The Penn State coach, James Franklin, dude, you're a head coach, and you got in a fight with a fan, and you have sucked out loud. Penn State has sucked out loud the entire time, and you're getting a ton of money for it. Fans have every right to say you suck, and you have to sit there and eat it, and you don't get to start fights with fans. Ben Simmons, I don't even know what to tell you. Dude, this has been your running dilemma since your entire career. You have so many issues upstairs.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
And you try to say it's health. It's not just health. You're kind of a baby, and you're kind of a spoiled brat, and trying to start a fight with a 15-year-old and basically calling him a pussy because he said you're trash when you've been trash is bullshit. So to me, he's the biggest one of the group. And we'll go ahead and call that a segment. All right, moving on to the NFL.